Puya Kasha, welcome back dito sa latest episode ng Deep Dive. Ito naman yung R&J natin. Uh, Medyo tampo ako doon sa R&R dahil kanina yata hinamon ako ni Ronald Llamas. Makipag kami, charity event na sundukan para sa doon sa isang kaibigan namin. But thank you so much pa rin sa semi-solidarity ng aking kaibigan na ginawa tayong topic sa kabilang channel tapos may konting solidarity. Pero kung wala tayong R&R tonight, meron naman tayong R&J or JNR. Ayoko ng RJ kasi parang iba yung naalala ko eh. JR na lang, JR para medyo hip-hop ang dating. Kasama natin ulit si Attorney Jesus Falsis. Thank you very much, Jesus, for joining us again.
Hello, hello. R to my J. J
Okay.
to my R.
Yo, yo! Bago tayo ma-MTRCB, ayan, pag-usapan natin kasi wala tayong clearance for doing concert. Bago tayo pumunta dun sa mga, medyo maraming natuwa dun sa mga intervention mo sa Quadcom natin when you said may mga iba dyan medyo naghahanap buhay, kaya huwag natin seryosohin masyado yung kanilang intervention. Before we go to the some would even say Bam versus Bongo could be another wild scenario 2028. Kanina may kausap na ako sa isang war room. Shoutout naman dun sa mga old friends natin na na-catch up natin kanina. Ito. Balikan natin ito, guys. This is very, very important. So, Attorney Falsis, you claim that you have fully appreciated the nuances of the latest motion for reconsideration by House of Representatives. Not to mention, of course, mukhang ito na, finalized na. Wala lang bawian, abante na to. Yung ano pala, yung isang former Chief Justice natin also has lent his credibility and name to and yet another criticism of the Supreme Court ruling. Sabi naman ni Soto, unanimous mistake. Like, oh my God, unbunk mistake ba? And kumbaga, this is getting interesting. So, Attorney Falsis, can you first break down properly anong read mo sa two motions for reconsideration since our Quadcom inaugural meeting and also your reading of the criticism or critic from other legal luminaries?
I wasn't able to read the first MR no filed by Civil
Ah,
Society. Ang nabasa ko kasi meron tayong friends na nag-send nung MR ng Solgen. So swerte actually ang House that because the House of Representatives is a respondent in this case, no? And usually when the government agency is the respondent, ang lawyer niyan Solgen. So ang nagsulat ng MR ng House of Representatives is the newly appointed former UP Law Dean Darlene Berberabe, Solgen Berberabe. Of course, may mga solicitor, state solicitor and assistant solicitor generals yan. Hindi lang naman si former dean yan. No? But of course, sa kanya ko i-credit because she's the head right now. And it's well written. It makes a lot of points. Onti lang yung similar sa akin. Medyo may isa o dalawa na similar sa mga nasabi ko na. And some new na mga arguments by the Solgen.
shall we go through it? Yeah, let's go through it. Yeah, let's break it down. Deep dive. Let's go.
Yeah. So the motion for reconsideration really starts with the facts. No? So there are two ways to argue. First is on the facts and the second is on the law. So hindi mo na to sa legal arguments. Doon muna sa factual basis lang talaga and chronology of events. Very specific yung Solgen decision, Solgen writing sa MR, parang nung nag-post ako mga page 61, ganun sinasite ko, sa facts, nag-cite talaga doon si Solgen ng mga pages sa Supreme Court decision sa ponente ni Justice Leonen na with all due respect, sabi ni Solgen, are actually wrong, no? Belied by the facts, belied by the House Journal. So sabi ng decision, page 8 ng Leonen Ponente, no? Allegedly, the articles of impeachment were transmitted to the Senate at 4:47 p.m. without a plenary vote. Pero sabi ng Solgen, the House Journal, which in fact, inattach as Annex 1 doon sa sagot ng House, doon pa lang sa interlocutory questions. Di ba? Ang daming questions 3 weeks ago. Attached na yun as Annex 1 sa House Journal. Sabi ng Solgen, if you look at the House Journal, there was a plenary vote. So what actually happened was hindi magic yung fourth impeachment complaint na pirma lang, walang tingin-tingin, walang deliberation, transmit lang kagad sa Senate. In fact, na-include siya sa order of business on February 5 in the morning and in the afternoon. It was voted upon in the afternoon, a bit after lunch, and then the House prosecutors were assigned. Mga 3:30 ganun. And then nag-break yung session before it was transmitted by the House Secretary General to the Senate. So, yun ang first na sinasabi ng Solgen. Bago ka magtanong, no, ang second immediate fact
Sabi ko
na
first, okay,
dinidispute.
number one. Okay, number one. Yeah, I'm just enumerating. Go ahead, please. Take your time.
Yeah. The second immediate fact that the Solgen clarified, no, February 5, 2025 is not the date for the House to adjourn sine die. 'Di ba? Naging controversial yung term na adjournment sine die kasi may question sa Senate, hindi muna sa House, no. By analogy sa ating mga viewers, after June 13, the super last session day ng Senate, pag nag-adjourn na ba ang Senate ng June 13, tatawid ba yung impeachment trial sa 20th Congress pag nag-adjourn sine die? Kasi pag nag-adjourn sine die, hindi ako magaling sa hindi ako particular sa pronunciation. Patay na lahat ng mga bills. Terminated lahat ng pending bills, terminated lahat ng pending business. But of course, lawyers argued, like me and some legal luminaries, if not most, no, na impeachment is different. Sui generis, hindi siya legislative, so it can cross over, it doesn't die. So, how does it relate to this MR, no? Ang appreciation kasi ng Ponente ni Leonen, sabi niya, nagkaroon ng bagong doctrine, which is effective. Pag may initiation, may 1 year. Nung nag-adjourn, sine die or sine die. Sabi ng Solgen, actually, hindi February 5 ang adjournment, sine die. That is just a break or an adjournment para sa election, mag-break. Mayroon pang 3 session days. And we know that for a fact, kasi nga sa Senate, di ba, there were still sessions from June first week to around June 11 or 13. Hindi ako super specific on that. But the point is, ang adjournment sine die or sine die talaga was on somewhere June 11 or 13, not February 5. So, hindi pwede magkaroon ng bagong doctrine si Justice Leonen ng effective dismissal if February 5 is not adjournment sine die. Because si Leonen mismo nagsabi, his ponente said, upon adjournment sine die, there was an effective dismissal and therefore there was effective initiation and therefore 1 year bar. So, yun yung two quick facts na clarify ng Solgen. And then before we go, there are 4 legal arguments. If you have any comments or ano na.
No, we're good.
quick,
We're good. Yeah, thank you. Before we go to Phil Consa, yeah, please go ahead.
So, we're going to the 4 legal arguments, no? The first one talaga na rinibat ng Solgen or in-answer ng Solgen because it's a very big accusation. If you remember, the Leonen Ponente said there was neglect or willful inaction on the first 3 complaints. So, sabi ng Solgen, let's look at page 61 of the Leonen Ponente. The Solgen argued respectfully naman, no, napakaganda ng pagkasulat. Unlike how I write my Facebook post. But sabi ng Solgen MR, in claiming that the Constitution imposes a preference, di ba we already discussed this, Richard, before in our RNJ, na there are 2 modes to initiate. First is by filing and referral, normal citizen, 1 congressman or 2, and the second is the Manny Villar route, which is the quicker route. 2 impeachment trials na nangyari because of that, when there is a filing of a complaint by 1/3 of the members. Ang sabi ng Leonen Ponente, page 61, I'm not sure page 61 talaga, pero yun yung sabi ng MR. There's a preference daw. Pag nakatenga na or pag may pending na first 3 impeachment complaints, that takes preference or precedence sa second mode. Why? According to the Leonen Ponente, kasi may due process doon. May hearing, may procedure. So, unahin mo yan, sabi ng Leonen Ponente. Ngayon, ang sabi naman ng legal argument ni Solgen, there is no preference or prioritization in the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't say the first mode is preferred, the second mode is preferred. There's no preference, plain and simple. And then because of that, the Solgen had to look at the nitty-gritty. Or was the first three impeachment complaint, were the first three impeachment complaints included in the order of business within 10 session days? Yes. Yung preference na tinitingnan ng Leonen Ponente violates daw the prerogative and the constitutional discretion of the House to choose the mode. Because again, the Constitution doesn't say which is preferred. So it depends on the House. So ang nangyari no February 5, this is applying the facts already, no? The fourth impeachment complaint was also included in the order of business on February 5. Because it was filed and signed by 1/3, then the plenary voted to transmit and refer it to the Senate upon action, yung mga other parliamentary actions, no? Because there was a first, there were the first three impeachment complaints, no? Hindi naman siya parang hindi inaksyonan. Ang sabi ng Solgen, because the fourth impeachment complaint was already signed by 1/3, then na-initiate na siya. And because na-initiate na siya, respecting the 1-year bar rule, the House of Representatives, quote-unquote, archive the first three impeachment complaints in compliance with yung pag allegedly neglect or not acting on the first three was actually doing its constitutional duty to respect the Constitution, which is may na-initiate na fourth impeachment complaint. So, hindi daw siya willful neglect or willful inaction, and there was no...
So, parang SOP lang siya. So, SOP siya in that sense, yeah.
Yes. I-relate ko na kasi nasa third or fourth, no? Because we're on the topic. Once sabi ng Solgen, once the impeachment complaint is filed and signed by 1/3, ipso facto. Similar to sa sinabi ko, no? By default, by operation of the Constitution, it becomes the articles of impeachment and no subsequent step is needed. There is no other procedure inserted in the Constitution between the articles of impeachment being constituted by 1/3 signing to the transmittal and referral to the Senate. So, with all due respect, sabi ng Solgen, there is no preference or prioritization. The House has discretion and therefore there is no willful neglect. Ito nitty-gritty pa, isa pang technical, no? Sabi naman ng Leonen Ponente, okay, in-include mo siya within 10 session days sa order of business, but we all know you must also refer it to the Committee on Justice within 3 session days. Since hindi mo siya refer on February 5, effective dismissal. Ang sabi ng Solgen dyan, actually, because the facts are misappreciated, because the adjournment sine die happens June 13 pa, there were actually still 3 session days to refer it to the Committee of Justice if the House decided to. But again, respecting the 1-year bar rule, because na-initiate na yung fourth impeachment complaint, there's nothing to refer to the Committee on Justice anymore because may na-initiate na fourth impeachment complaint. So that's the first and fourth legal argument, no? Medyo sinegment kasi ni Solgen.
Right. Different organized. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the fourth one focuses on due process, but it's already immediately related. Ang question kasi may violation ba ng due process if pagka-sign ng 1/3, automatic transmit and isesend mo sa Senate. Sabi ng Solgen, wala. Because the Constitution says, wala nang ibang step. Pagka 1/3, transmit. So that was the argument similar to what we already discussed before, no? The second and third argument, no? The second one is the Ascuna argument. The second argument by the Solgen is to say na the House properly relied in good faith and complied with the Supreme Court decisions in Francisco 2003 and the Merceditas Gutierrez decision in 2010-2011 faithfully. Binasa ng House, yung rules ng House follows the statements in those decisions. So, sabi ng Solgen, the House should not be prejudiced by its reliance on the 2 Supreme Court decisions. The Solgen did not specifically state that the doctrine of operative facts should be applied, but in essence, the second argument was saying any new doctrine should be applied prospectively. So that was the second argument. Relying on or emphasizing the Ascuna proposal. The third argument of the Solgen is that in the second mode of initiation, which is the one-third, ang sabi kasi ng Supreme Court, let's put more procedures. How many? 7. Sabi, ito, dapat gawin 7. One of that is that there's a reasonable time to read and reflect and decide per congressman. Tapos dapat there was a reasonable time to distribute the copies and to read the evidence, things like that. Ang focus dito ng Solgen is to say na that is effectively writing or rewriting the Constitution. The Solgen did not say judicial legislation, so ako kasi, it's clear to me
Or
that there's...
overreach. He didn't say overreach. So he was very careful.
Wala.
Yeah, the tone is very conciliatory.
Correct. Walang judicial overreach, judicial legislation, but the Solgen did say explicitly na in effect, the ponente was rewriting the Constitution because textually lang, verba lehis, so sa mga lawyers na nakikinig, law students, di ba, we have this rule or tool to interpret that is called verba lehis. If the
Plain meaning of the word. Yeah.
plain meaning of the word, verba lehis translates plain meaning. Pag yung text na yan ang nakasulat, huwag ka na magdagdag. Wala namang nakalagay dyan na procedure eh. Pagka one-third, transmit to the Senate, trial shall forthwith proceed. So sabi ng Solgen, there is no plenary vote, there is no distribution of the copies, there is no asking if they have read it or not. Wala nang ganon. Just the one-third itself is enough due process. And the Solgen here, look at the intent of the framers. Ang problema kasi sa ponente ni Justice Leonin, Artemio Panganiban, si CJ, Renato Puno have already given their own comments. Sila kasi, the reason why I mentioned them, they're two of the most respected legal writers. Not just as Chief Justice, even nung Justice pa lang sila, yung mga decisions na sinulat nila, very structured, very easy to follow, very well argued. So, I'm mentioning them. Nakalimutan ko tuloy. Bakit ko ba sila mini-mention?
No, because
Na-
we
wala
went to verbalize, di ba? The idea na, yung parang, kumbaga sa debating, the judge should not enter the debate. Di ba? Parang kumbaga.
Ayun. I mentioned verbales, sina CJ Puno. Sina Puno at saka si Panganiban, sila lagi nag-i-invoke sila ng mga tools of interpretation, kaya maganda ang mga sinusulat nila. Yung sa ponente ni Justice Leonin, unfortunately, wala masyadong sinabing sinight na tools of interpretation, verbales, intent of the framers. Ito si Solgen, sabi niya, let's look at the intent of the framers. Yung one-third na yan, that in itself is the procedure and the only procedure. No other procedure is required for due process or whatever reason. Basta na-file and na-sign ng one-third, ipso facto, automatically go to the Senate. So, basically, yun. Now, napag-usapan ko na yung fourth because the fourth is more or less about due process.
First. Oo. Sorry
Yes.
for cutting you out. Just for the sake of our audience. Sorry, I know it's almost midnight, pero I cannot help but to kulit pa. Eto na naman, mga DDS friend natin, ang comment nila, bakit abogado ba yan Solicitor General na yan? You wanna
What
explain
a question.
to our friends, ano bang ambag at ano bang expertise ng not only Solicitor General per se, but this one who used to be Dean ng UP Law?
Yes, Dean ng UP Law before, CEO ng Pag-ibig, and Pag-ibig kasi requires a lot of legal application, contracts, mortgages, purchases, acquisition. So, Darlene Berberabe is an expert. With all due respect sa mga haters.
Yun nga. So, due respect to DDS, yes, abogado po siya. And paki-explain sa mga ating henyong DDS, ano po ang trabaho ng Solicitor General? Because last time we checked, one Solicitor General co-warranted out a whole Supreme Court Chief Justice, right? Just for people to realize the power and mandate of a Solicitor General.
The Solicitor General is the law firm of the government. So, explicitly by law, it is tasked to defend all branches or agencies of government pag kinasuhan. pag kinasuhan yung government agency. That's why kanina sa introduction sabi ko, di ba, swerte yung House na si Solgen ang nagsulat at nag-respond for them because required si Solgen because kinasuhan si House, hindi si House yung nagkaso. Ibang situations kasi kung si House yung nagkaso, pwedeng hindi si Solgen yung mag-represent. But still, most likely, it would be the Solgen. So, dati, Justice Hardelesa.
But did you expect the Solgen to come and argue it in behalf of the House of Representatives? Honestly, I didn't see that angle coming. Kasi it looks like parang biglang nagsama yung executive and lower house versus Supreme Court and portions of the upper house. Parang that's how it looks on the surface, on a skeletal level.
I expected it kasi 'di ba you know naman na the previous Solgen, Maynardo Guevara, there were movements and I was one of the advocates for the president to remove former Solgen Maynardo Guevara because the Solgen was not towing the government line, lawyer siya ng government. So ito, in-expect ko because BBM appointee na si Solgen Darlene Berberabe, I expected her to defend the House.
As a reminder, kasi marami naman tayong attorney DDS dyan. Ito po ay valedictorian yata lang ng UP Law, hindi ba? Parang,
Yes.
just to put things into perspective, medyo mataas na level itong taong to.
Naging professor.
Hindi ito yung mga pichugin na YouTuber lang na DDS attorney. Kasi marami naman pwede mag-DDS attorney nowadays. Mag-pro DDS ka lang, tapos attorney ka, next thing you know, marami ka ng followers. Buti nga, attorney Falsis, hindi ka na ganyan. Para lang maraming followers. Kasi maraming biglang attorney DDS. Napansin.
Well, dati pa naman akong di ba? Dati pa akong anti-Duterte. Sinasabi nga nila, lawyer daw ba ako? Lawyer daw ba ako talaga? Alam mo, Richard,
Alam mo
it's
naman,
easy to
diba?
verify.
Pwede naman rebranding daw. Basta, diba? Rebranding.
Hindi. Alam mo, it's easy to verify if Darlene Berberabe is a lawyer because anyone who doubts, like me, if I'm a lawyer, you just Google roll of attorneys, Supreme Court list, may pupuntahan kayong website, yung website na yon, yung roll of attorneys sa Supreme Court website ng Supreme Court mismo, and then you can write the names. Tapos lalabas kung kailan kami pumasa and whether or not we are still in good standing. And ako, I'm an IBP lifetime member. Sorry na lang sa mga haters ko. Lifetime member ako ng Integrated Bar of the Philippines. 10 years ko na as a lawyer this year. So, kahit alam ko sa sarili ko pipitsugi ako compared to the greats. But with all due respect sa mga haters, malayo naman sila sa akin.
That's a Haydarian way of putting it. But just Francis, sabihin natin for the sake of argument, sige na nga, hindi daw believe to mga DDS kasi ganito, ganyan. Nag-apply naman daw sa, di ba, nag-apply for Supreme Court tong isa, di ba? But anyway, sige na nga, okay, for the sake of argument, let's be DDS and say, sino ba yung attorney yan? Di naman nag- Okay, ito. Punta natin. Philippine Constitution Association. Ito na. Medyo mahirap tapatan to dun sa mga henyo natin DDS. Ito yung PhilCons finally, lumabas na to. Kasi earlier, parang fake news daw Kaso when I talk to a lot of our legal expert friends, sabi nila, no, this sounds like a certain person. Baka early draft lang na medyo na-leak, medyo napaaga. But finally, we have a version. Some would say the version is slightly, I don't know, let's just say more nuanced than the initial draft. Because my sense here is that everyone's taking a more conciliatory approach. I don't know if they're trying to give an off-ramp. Kumbaga, ito na yung oral arguments Ito yung hindi nangyari diba? This is what former Chief Justice Pangilinan was calling for. But we have yet another former Chief Justice, Puno naman, part of the Philippine Constitution Association, also coming out with their own position on this na hindi sang-ayon dun sa mga henyo natin DDS na kaibigan. Sige na, kaya nga sabi ko, for the sake of argument, sabihin natin, sige na nga, hindi abot ng level nila. Let's go for a former Supreme Court Chief Justice and the Philippine Constitution.
You have 2 former Chief Justices, you have 3 former Justices, you have 2 to 3 former framers of the Constitution. Sila ang nagsulat nun. Tapos sasabihin mo, hindi sila marunong, sila nagsulat.
Abogado
sabi nila.
Pa mga yan. Tarang daw, abogado daw ang former Chief Justice.
make it make sense.
Tayo mga henyo talaga mga DDS.
Alternative reality, alternative facts. And ito sa mga DDS Richard, ang PhilConsa, Philippine Constitution Association, ano yan kadikit yan ni President Duterte. Remember, President
Ayoko
Duterte
na
wanted
magsalita, baka ma-petition naman tayo dyan. Oh, no comment, no
No,
comment.
no, 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 no. No, 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 no. I'm telling you, during Duterte's time, Duterte tapped the PhilConsa for the amendment or revision of the Constitution. 'Di ba yeah, yung ano to federalism, yung federalism project ni President Duterte, Chief Justice Puno was supportive of creating a constitutional committee or kung ano yung ginawa ni Duterte noon, may ginawa yun. Tapos may report. And PhilConsa was part of that. So, wag nilang sabihin ang PhilConsa, anti-Duterte lang yan or bias or, di ba, dilawan, kakamping. Hindi.
Oh, naawa na ako sa mga DDS kasi nauubusan na sila ng argument eh. Pero sige na nga, okay. Paki-explain natin, what is this PhilConsa all about and what was their argument dito naman sa kanilang position paper basically sa Supreme Court?
The PhilConsa was created to protect the Constitution, to promote the Constitution. Talagang mga members niyan and yung si CJ Puno na nag-release ng statement is a constitutionalist. So, the PhilConsa itself in its statement said two things, procedurally and substantively. Sa procedural, very eloquent. Ang sabi ni CJ Puno, the decision of the Supreme Court in the case of Sara Duterte versus House of Representatives suffers from a famine of facts. Famine of facts. Unfortunate daw, very respectful din naman. Unfortunate daw na hindi nagkaroon ng benefit because we must remember the Supreme Court is not a trier of facts. Pag may gusto kong ipakulong, magte-testify ka, magte-take an oath ka as a witness sa Bible, magte-take an oath ka sa RTC. Tapos tatas yan ng CA. So magkakaroon ng multiple layers to verify and confirm the facts. Pagdating sa Supreme Court ng isang RTC or CA case, sarado na yung facts. Ano na siya? Maayos na, solid na. Kaso sa kaso na to, sa mga diretso kagad pag Supreme Court, mga kasong diretso sa Supreme Court, walang RTC, walang CA. So, ang usual practice dyan ng Supreme Court, kapag mayroong mga kailangang facts na malaman, nag-oral arguments yan at nag-aas ng mga amici curiae, mga experts, nagtatanong pa sila ng iba for additional advice or opinion. So, yung first point ng PhilConsa was the decision suffers from a famine of facts kasi parang nakulangan or may misappreciation ng facts. So, parang si Solgen, yun ang unang atake. May factual mistake or factual inaccuracies. And therefore, pag tama yung appreciation ng facts, naturally, dapat magbago yung decision. Di ba? That's the first point.
You need 8, di ba? You need 8 justices to overturn this? Paano yan? How does
You
that...
need 8.
8,
Yes, you need 8 votes. And hope springs eternal. I don't know if you saw the news 2 days or 3 days ago. The Supreme Court reversed itself. In-announce, merong isang kaso.
Dami ko reversal. Bigla nakikita ko di ba? Yung mga... So, that's interesting. Yeah.
It was about stocks in corporations. So, yung unang decision ng Supreme Court said, ganito mag-determine kung sino ang stockholder or not. And then on MR, the Supreme Court reversed itself. Oo nga, pwede pa naman pala itong ibang extrinsic evidence or itong evidence na to prove you're a stockholder. So, na-reverse. So, unanimous din yun. Wala namang dissent doon. So, it's not impossible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, again, now we're moving into the realm of political analysis. And by the way, when we say political, hindi ibig sabihin in a negative way. We mean in a sense that it goes beyond strict reading of the law and interpretation of the law. My sense, Jesus, I'm talking to different luminaries based on my conversation on the record. I think they're trying to find an off-ramp here. I think Justice Ascuna really took up the cudgel for this idea na we can find a way out of this whereby everyone saves their face and we save our constitutional democracy. I know for some this may sound a bit a stretch, but I don't know. I'm sensing a little bit the tide is turning, no? Na baka naman may off-ramp nga tayo dito with Solicitor General coming in, multiple ex-justice. I mean, I'm still waiting for any justice to come out. Even the IBP statement, which many of our friends from a certain side were happy to share, parang I'm not sure that was a clear endorsement or like that was a clear pushback against this criticism. Was it? Parang hindi rin eh. Yung IBP.
Yeah,
Parang hindi
the
rin
IBP,
Merong 50-50 rin ang dating niya sa akin eh.
the IBP statement was clear that the power to impeach and initiate an impeachment case is exclusive with the House. But ang sabi lang ng IBP, okay, nag-decide ang Supreme Court, let's follow it. So that's all that the IBP said. So I don't think it's a momentum for them.
Yeah, and it's not like IPP said wag niyo nang i-ano yan or charot-charot lang. I just felt it was a very safe, standard, neutral statement. But yun nga, sabi ko, hinintay ko pa rin sino bang ex-justice or chief justice supporting this decision. That in itself quite
Not so far
something.
eh.
Parang wala pa, di ba? Or give
And
me a top law school defending this.
I haven't heard eh. And I'll point out to you, no, yung justices din, nakabaon sa UP Law Faculty statement, meron doon signatory, professor, si Justice Hardelesa, retired justice. So actually, apat na yung former justices, apat o lima, yung who have said something against the Supreme Court decision. So I haven't seen or heard a justice, former justice, defend the Supreme Court.
Yun nga, sabi ko, this is an interesting case because, ultimately the Supreme Court's authority comes from its moral standing, right? From its this sense of its legitimacy. And I think that's why it matters, the cadence, the debate, the direction we have. Now, medyo move-forward pa tayo, baka ma-petition na naman tayo kung sino mga gallery of rogues dyan na questionable characters. Let's talk about something even more controversial. Lalo natin pahamak sarili natin, Jesus. Okay, marami nag-message sa akin. Okay tong si Jesus na kinuha nyo. Mukhang medyo may pagka Ronald Llamas din saying things that have to be said. May mga natuwa na sinabi mo daw na baka naman may mga naghahanap buhay lang dyan. And then there are also people warning me. They were sending me messages the other day about parang inoperate na daw si Risa. Parang tinitira-tira na, inaaway-away na. And ako naman parang, okay, for a moment lang, i-freeze lang natin where we stand on who we think is the best leader. For me, we just have to be very careful kasi this pink movement is not only magical, it has momentum. It could become the next administration, for heaven's sake, if we can keep things together. I mean, baka mamaya, kung malakas yan, walang choice. Everyone else will have to coalesce behind it except the DDS camp, diba? So, I want to go back to this. I mean, how are you feeling about this debate, Lenny versus Risa? Ako nga, para lang iba na yung discussion. Sinabi ko, Bongo versus Bam na lang para iba ng discussion. But, no, honestly, I want to get back to this because I'm a little bit worried. This is getting out of control, to be honest.
Well, as I mentioned sa ating Quadcom na discussion before, no, I think the onus falls on Mayor Lenny because even though Senator Risa has said that she may run for president or she's ready, if ever, to run for president in 20.
Bukas siya to be standard bearer. Just to be
Bukas lang,
precise
hindi
about
siya dead set.
She
Yes.
didn't volunteer in a sense ako dapat. Hindi siya nag-Cynthia Villar na.
Yes. At saka madaming alternative routes for Senator Risa. Alam mo naman mga dynasty. So, kahit tayo progressives, dapat hindi na tayo maging shy. Pwede naman bumaba si Senator Risa to Akbayan, nominee, para ano siya ng term limit sa senator. Congresswoman naman siya, kapalit si Chel. I think, ako personally, ang Ronald Llamas atake ko dyan, personally lang for the progressive movement is, before I answer your Lenny Risa, no, I would like Risa and Lenny and all of the affiliated to promote Laila and Chel to run for senator kasi na overcome na yung unang barrier eh. Bumalik na yung sigla ng movement, napakita natin may strength. I think they're winnable na in 2028 as senatorial balls. So that will leave a vacuum sa Akbayan for one nominee and sa ML sino yung nominee na papalit kay
Pero ang counter
Laila.
argument ko dyan is gawin mo yung ginawa ng tingnan mo yung PDP laban, Jimmy Bondoc, your fellow lawyer. Like, he's already within the conversation. I don't know about Ipe. I think Ipe is kind of like past his point. But there are a couple of next generation PDP laban candidates were built up. They didn't make it in the last race, but I'm sure they're gonna make it a second try. Hindi ba logical that should be also the other thing na to develop a next generation? I mean, I can already see efforts with Paeng David, Rafael David, a couple of people in Akbayan. I think that should be the route na push up sila Chel to Senate and then build really a new generation. Yung sa kaibigan natin, yung girlfriend niya yata ngayon, Si Gio, di ba? Girlfriend niya ngayon si ano, yung artista. Oh,
Akala ko tuloy si Leloy. Kasi si Leloy, akbayan yun eh, noon.
ay, ko, mauwi ba yan from Berkeley? No, yung isa, di ba,
Oh,
artista nang dinedate niya ngayon? Sino yung artista?
sino? Sino?
Ah,
Gia?
oh my
Hindi.
God, what's her name? Yung... I'm so bad in showbiz. I'm so
No,
bad.
but I agree with you, si Paeng David, the
Yeah,
akbayan
mga
chair.
ganon. Like, build the next
Yeah.
generation na. O, wag na yung recycling. Ayoko na, tama na yan.
No, but ang sinasabi ko lang naman, ganito yan ha, if the first nominee of Akbayan in 2028 is not as popular or Chel or Risa, they will not get 3 votes. I love Kong Percy Sendanya. I love the third nominee right now of Akbayan. But let's be real. The reason why Akbayan did well, aside from Risa, is because Chel was the first nominee. May personality-based politics pa din, kahit sa party list.
Sorry. Christine Reyes pala yung ano niya. Okay, anyway. No, never mind. Let's go back to our conversation.
Parang hindi naman progressive. Progressive ba yung boyfriend ni Christine Reyes?
Hindi, yung ngayon. Si Christine Reyes ngayon ay nagde-date na isang progressive leader reportedly.
Ah, si ano, yung dating NYC.
Oh!
Ano?
Oy, baka ma-libel hindi tayo Christy Fermin, ha?
Hindi. Ang
I'm just
problema
saying,
ko,
yun ang sinasabi ng reports. I'm just saying. You know?
ang problema ko, that NYC chair is not as felt or seen recently. So, I'm not sure why he should be rewarded or pushed to run, no? But he's
But
free to...
ang layo ng runway, bro. The runway is long. I think there's a lot of room to build a lot.
Ah,
Kaya mga si Ma'am Dani nga, 6 months went from nobody to a global sensation. I'm just saying. You never know.
pwede naman.
Ako naman.
Pero again, the first nominee, in my view lang naman, right now, for Akbayan to maintain its position as 3 seats and either number 1 party list or number 2, talagang 2 million votes, etc. The first nominee should be popular. So kung si Chel ay aakyat sa Senado at tatakbo, dapat I think the alternative, no, this is just one option because again, the
Yeah,
other
we're
option
just scenario building here. Yeah, absolutely.
The other option is presidential ang takbo ni Risa. But if hindi siya presidential, duda ako na magdi-district or duda ako na mag-LGU si Senator Risa. Mas bagay siya, balik siya for Congress. Now, I go back. Lenny Risa. The onus is still on Mayor Lenny. The reason for that is because I think there's a reason why Kiko Bam did well, no? Meron siyang 2022 slash nostalgia slash resentment slash hang up slash comeback ng pink movement, no? So, okay, nabalik natin si Kiko Bam. Yan yung mga core voters nung 2025 elections, no? Sa 2028, I think meron pa din ganong hang up or parang what if or nostalgia na baka si Lenny na lang talaga dapat, hindi naman si BBM, yung naging presidente ng 2022. So, right now, Mayor Lenny is still more popular as presidential in 2028. But, if she decides not to run, and she has to decide early kasi, alam mo yung ibang taga-naga, I forget what you call mga taga-naga, no? But some of them want Mayor Lenny to finish the 9 years. And Mayor Lenny before said she will finish the 9 years. Some naman who are close to Mayor Lenny are disputing me and saying, hindi, nagbibigay na yan ng hint na tatakbo siya ng 2028. So, she has to decide early because that should give the opposition or progressive movement more freedom to look kung sino ba ang standard bearer.
Ako, I have a perfect idea for for kind of a Chel Jokno style guest candidate for Akbayan that perfectly makes sense ideological otherwise. Vico Soto. You know that Vico Soto actually has good ties with Akbayan. He's been very strongly with Akbayan and all that. I'm just saying, if Vico in theory is open to be a congressman, which I doubt by the way, even Senate na nga, mukhang hindi siya interesado. I'm just saying, like, you could also imagine a crazy situation, or crazy in a good way, whereby Vico and a bunch of young people, Paeng, Gio, kung mga young slate ng mga young guns, and then Risa goes for gold, whether it's VP or for the presidency. But yun nga ako, ang problema ko ngayon, Jesus, is like, parang masyadong, okay, let me break it down this way. I find it amusing that now I am being accused of being purist when I'm the guy who somehow popularized the idea of tactical voting, right? I mean, you can just Google it. Just Google tactical voting Philippine context. The first articles are gonna come out. Oh, I'm not saying ako yung nag-invent ng concept. This concept has been around for a long time. I said I got it actually. I was inspired by the case of Alexei Navalny, in the case of Rush, blah, blah. Anyway, noon time na yan, sabi ko, supportan nyo yung ibang alyansa candidates who will prevent an Amy Marcos or I don't know, Mark Oleta or whatever from coming in. Guess what? The real purists, or whatever you want to call it, they were the ones who said no. We'll just vote for Bam and Kiko. And sige na nga, baka si ano rin. Someone else who actually had also a chance. We can talk about her. I think she's definitely a senatoriable to
Attorney Luke, Heidi Mendoza. Yeah.
exactly, Aida Mendoza, right? So I find it fascinating. We are now being accused of being purist in an unreasonable way when in fact they were the unreasonable people who did not support this idea of si Lenny na nga mismo sabi niya Pacquiao, di ba? Si Lenny nga mismo medyo nagparamdam baka naman yung ibang alyansa member. The idea is not because they're perfect. The idea is not because they're perfectly what we want. They're nowhere close to Kiko or even Bam when it comes to ideas of progressiveness. But you want them to be there because otherwise you'll get, well, what you got basically right now. And then now suddenly they're turning the table and saying, tayo pa yung purist for demanding a minimum degree of alignment, loyalty, whatever you want to call it. Now, okay lang. I mean, Kiko has his way of explaining his way. I don't know if Bam is even bothering to explain his position, but this Kiko, I see his effort. So what is this thing with us like being... ina-attack pa si Risa, binabastos pa si Risa na wala naman daw ginawa daw si Risa, ganyan-ganyan. Like, what the heck is going on here, bro? Like, this is not good, huh? They're like shutting down any alternative discussion within the pink camp or progressive camp or basically neither Team Kadiliman, Team Kasaman camp. Like, this is supposed to be Team Liwanag. And the next thing you know, you're shutting down certain discussions? What the heck? How is this democratic? And by the way, this reminds me very much of how back in the day that Mar Rojas versus Grace Po thing, right? Mutual cancellation. Guess what we got? We got Digong, 10 years of Dutertismo, right? Who knows? So, excuse me, before accusing us of purism, we were the one telling you guys, hey, tactical alliance, none of us voted for Marcos, hindi tayo puro alyansa, but do you want Amy there? Do you want X, Y, and Z? Oh, well, they didn't do it. Guess what we got, right? They didn't even support Heidi Mendoza enough. She had a good chance. So I just find it amusing that suddenly tayo pang na-accuse us unreasonably purist when all we're asking is, baka naman, gusto naman medyo kay Risa. But as I said, I give credit where credit due. In fairness kay Kiko, he's making the right noise. He's a lawyer, people forget. That's why he has authoritative interventions on this issue. Yung sinasabi niya dahil meron ng motion for reconsideration, although executure, hindi na final yung Supreme Court ruling, maybe the Senate could blah, blah, blah. So, I'm just saying like, bro, I feel this is very anti-democratic. This is very authoritarian. And this is very toxic. Dilawan, I'm sorry for saying that. Which brings me back the traumas of 2015-16, which got us Duterte to begin with.
Technically kasi si Senator Risa, hindi naman siya talaga technically dilawan or technically pink. Of course, she was promoted by Pinoy before to PhilHealth and then pinasok sa slate niya. But I think core dilawans and some core kakampinks don't view Risa as more aligned with the core dilawan or core pink. And the reason why may kanyang parang ngayon, tension is because they saw na nag-number 2 si Bam. So, they thought, or they're thinking, I think, to be fair to them, is Bam has a very strong chance kung siya ang isa sa mga magiging standard bearer, VP or president. And yung sinasabi nating purist or tactical, ang sinasabi nila si Bam magaling mag-tactical. And I think, even I would agree. Baka sabi ko, nga, no? Parang kaya naman ni Bam big tent na parang kunin niya yung ibang Marcos, kunin niya yung ibang Duterte.
But can you get Duterte in a one-on-one race? Iba yung Senate 12 yung options mo All you have to do is isama ka lang doon sa slate. So i-real talk na o doon sa mahenyo natin kaibigan, madali maglaro sa Senate kasi 12 yung slate. All you have to do is to appeal to both sides and you'll end up under, and that's exactly what happened. Kaya nga, si Kiko nga, he didn't even bother. He still ended up number 5, right? Hindi nga siya Kiko didn't play at all. Kiko was just doing food vlogs. Sablay pa nga yung iba. Number 5 pa nga siya. Kaya may nagsabi, baka you didn't even need to play. You would have been top 5 regardless. Dahil nga maraming loyalista na galit sa DDS, so gusto nila bigla yung mga pink or liberal. Marami din
Yes.
DDS dahil sabi na, and Aquino will never be with the Marcos, so they voted for Aquino. But 2028 is 1-on-1. It's not 1 out of 12. They will not vote for you anymore. Yung DDS will not be with you. Yung isang grupo na nag-endorse sa'yo dun sa 8, hindi na, they'll all be with Sara / Bongo / I don't know, whatever. Right? So, hindi mag-apply yung logic or whatever dynamic happened in 2025. So yes, kudos to Bam. He played his card well, etc. But I would argue that's an exceptional case and completely incomparable to 2028 when it's going to be 1-on-1 for presidency or vice presidency.
Truly, no? Tsaka, yung trick ni Bam this 2025 is a one-time trick. Kasi if you're monitoring, if yung mga people telling us na mali tayo or what, if they're monitoring the DDS, just recently because Bam is more forceful on the issue of impeachment trial, kinakancel na ulit siya ng DDS. Oh, wala kang utang na loob sa INC. Oh, binoto ka nga ng mga DDS kasi parang play safe ka or hindi ka sa impeachment. Hindi ka na talaga namin iboboto. Gumagana na ulit ang mga DDS, yung echo chamber. Madali lang.
BBM na nga. Tingnan mo yung ginawa nila kay BBM. I love you, BBM. Ngayon, bangag ang tawag sa kanya. So you think they'll stick pa rin with Bam versus Sara versus Bong? No way.
Yeah.
They're being unreasonable. In fact, grabing sense of entitlement ng mga DDS. Parang pag sinuport ka namin, you owe us your soul. Like,
I think the real question now,
yung analysis ng ibang kaibigan natin, sobrang unrealistic. I'm sorry.
Dilulo, hindi realistic. I think the real question now is, kung sa 2028, the Duterte vote will go to Sara, the question is how much soft DDS voters can a candidate get? And second, which candidate is the best candidate sa progressive movement natin to court the Marcos vote? So if their answers to that is that it's Bam, I can respect that. If they give good reasons na the soft DDS goes to Bam and the Marcos loyalist goes to Bam more than Risa, fine. But I think si Lenny, so far nga, I think si Lenny, most Marcos loyalists would go Lenny instead of Sara. And we should remember sa Robredo, Sara nung 2022, yung mga soft na Sara voters, I think they can lean towards Lenny. So
many Davao voted for Robredo. Many voted for Robredo. That's why she beat the BBM even in 2016 pa lang, di ba? No, ako I have a big problem kasi if your contention is, mas winnable ito, wait lang. Didn't you guys support Lenny when she was 3% out of conviction and principle? And brought her all the way to 20+%? Like, the very history of Pink Movement is conviction-based voting. All surveys was saying hopeless yan si Lenny, 3%, 4%, 5%. There were even stories na parang sabi ni Lenny, gawin nyo naman ako sana 7, 8, or 10% bago naman ako tumakbo para naman like, you get what I'm saying? Like, so that was a principal vote. And then now when we're saying maybe Risa is the principal vote hindi yan winnable, hindi yan viable, hindi yan ganun. Tapos yung argument mo pa 2025, sablay yung argument na yan dahil 2020 will be about presidential and vice presidential. If we're talking about Bam running for president or so X, Y, and Z. So I just feel there are people there who just don't like what Risa represents, which is a truly progressive social democratic route for the Philippines. And these are people, I'll tell you what, hindi lang siguro naghahanap buhay, meaning naghahanap ng cabinet positions. These are people who never accepted their loss in 2016. These are people, they remind me of the Democrats who never accepted Trump in 2016, thinking it's a fluke until, they got, basically, sila. At least nagigising na yung iba. Sa ating feeling ko, hindi pa nangyayari yun. Parang hanggang ngayon may denial na nanalo pa si Digong in 2016 because there was a rejection of supine liberalism. I could use a more punchy, spicy, but
yes.
So hindi nila tanggap. So parang tingin nila, if they make Lenny or Bam win in 2028, it will erase the past. Remember this line in Gatsby, whereby he's asked by the main narrator, but you cannot parang you cannot repeat the past. And then said, sport, no, you can, parang yes, you can repeat the past. Alam mo yung line ni Gatsby na hindi ko tanggap na hindi ako kinuha tong babae na to na pinili niya yung mas mayaman na lalaki, di ba? Parang ganun ang
Correct.
dating niya sa akin eh. It's a very Gatsby-esque delusion na if we get our version of reformist liberalism win in 2020, we can erase the horrible 10 years. Guess what? We are with you. We want to avoid another horrible Dutertismo. But give me a good argument first. Don't give me this mumbo jumbos just because you don't like Risa. Very unconvincing. And another thing I keep on hearing, but Risa is not charismatic eh. O then explain to me, how did she win 2016 and 2022 during Duterte time? Oh, but Risa is ano eh. Ang brand kasi niya, aktivista eh. Well, last time I checked, how many rebrandings have we seen in history? I can start with Miriam Defensor. God bless her soul. I did some work with her. I'm very proud that she reached out to me when I was just a young junior scholar to help out with some research. In my little ways, I contributed on some West Philippine issues in her campaign, etc. Like, she turned it, she jiu-jitsu it, right? Nung una, pinagtatawanan siya, parang baliw to ah. And then she made it to her own favor. Na siya yung parang, ano, di ba? She was like the genius joker making fun of all of these idiots in the Senate. Yung mga parang, di ba yung stupid is forever na book niya, tapos
Yes.
yung kay Osmeña, sabi, hindi naman nag-graduate na high school yan eh. She will just demolish. Yung wild, like, that's rebranding. I'll give you another rebranding. I remember very well, Jesus, matatanda tayong millennials, di ba? Remember those days na sobrang daming hater kay Nancy Binay? Like, just
Yeah.
mention Binay, my goodness, yung netizen, I think yun yung birth ng yellow netizen activism, yung anti-Binay sentiment, which I think also contributed to Victoria Digong, because I think Binay had a very good chance of becoming a president, not that I liked him, but, and then look at Nancy Binay by 2017 and 18. Biglang, be nice, di ba?
Be nice.
And then, ito, huling-huli, ngayon, ano na siya? She's like, everyone loves her. Ang bango ng pangalan niya, si Binay. So, I just don't buy this idea na one brand is brand forever. No, I believe in rebranding because I've seen how it works. So, yun lang, ang daming sablay na arguments. I'll give you another reason, Falsis. Have you noticed, wala sa mga henyong dilawan na yan ay may, eto na, magalit na talaga mga tao. Have you noticed? None of them have something like our channels. Like because ito na. Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They just don't have it. They don't have the dexterity. They don't have the breadth. They don't have the personality. They don't have the moral ascendancy anymore. And I'm talking about a very narrow group who are holding back the whole pink movement. I think the pink movement, you're right, Jesus, hindi traditional liberal party si Risa, but I think she's perfectly pink because pink is a broad coalition.
Yes.
Any Filipino who wants neither team kadiliman nor kasamahan. They want something different and they believe they almost got it or they believe they actually got it and they were cheated out. So I'm just saying, guys. Ito talagang, marami tayong magagalit sa akin after this. But I'm sorry, I have to say it because wala talaga silang argument. Wala na talaga.
You forgot to add one of the most convincing reasons for Risa recently, di ba? She's not popular daw, she's not winnable. Eh, why is she the number one most favored senator?
DDS, ano? in a DDS, ano? Okay, ako na magsalita.
Alam mo, best friend ko yan, si Malutikya. Sarcastically ko sinasabi, best friend ko yan. Pero tama siya noong 2025. Okay ang Publicos Asia in terms of survey results nitong 2025 elections.
Number 2, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tapos sabi niya, number 1, most favored. Tinalo pa si Raffy Tulfo. Number 1 si Risa.
Natalo pa si Grace po.
Hindi. Si Bongo, ang alam ko hindi siya kasama sa tinanong kasi re-election is.
Sa bagay,
Ang tinanong na yung mga...
Right.
Yes.
Pero in a different survey, Bongo, it's Bongo,
Raffy, who
Grace
is mildly popular.
Yeah. But in another survey, Bongo, Grace, and Raffy. Yeah.
And aside sa mga survey na yan, yung popularity, what makes someone popular? It is excellence. It is meritocracy. Bakit ba naging famous?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point,
Bakit naging popular si Rita? Diba? Kibuloy, investigated, kulong. Alice Go, investigated, kulong, madaming
Kaya
bagong
kulong,
batas.
nawala yung citizenship niya, nabuka na. Hindi pala siya
Ay,
Guo Ping. Iba pala yung pangalan. May ibang Chinese name pa pala. Nabuking pa na NBA. Ay,
oh, since 2021, Duterte time pa lang, Pogo, 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 sinasabi ni Risa, Pogo, Pastillas, Pogo, Pastillas scheme, Pogo, Pastillas scheme. Anong ginawa ni BBM last year? Ban, Pogos. Pogo. Di ba? Napaka-impactful. So, how can she not be popular? Because if she's a fake conviction, will make you popular. So, that will make her winnable.
yeah, exactly. Kaya ako bro, by the way, just to be clear alam ko isa-splice na naman yung mga haters natin, yung isang part lang. Ito naman si Richard talking about his own amazing self. Like, they don't get sarcasm, no? Medyo kulang sa wittiness. But anyway, having said that, if ang decision, whether through a primary, through some council of elders, so it's Bam, it's Lenny, anyone but na hindi Risa, na karapat dapat at ako, I'm very confident a BAM-led administration will be very smart, meritocratic, clean administration. I'm very confident Lenny administration. All I'm saying is that I just feel unfair yung dismissiveness or worse towards Risa. Yun ang sinasabi natin. Now, kaya ako, I can agree with Sonny na Risa na in a sense. But ako, at the same time, I also don't agree with the argument na dapat Risa lang yung option. No, I think I'm open to any other good option based on merit. But let's first have a proper discussion about it. Hindi yung
Yes.
kukunin ba akong cabinet na to? Huwag ganon. Aminin naman.
Hindi, tsaka-
Nagkatuwa yung iba
tsaka-
eh.
At the end of the day, dapat ang magko-focus lang talaga dyan is Risa, Kiko, Bam, Lenny. Sila dapat ang magko-focus dyan. Whatever they decide,
Kiko,
I
exactly.
think
Why not Kiko? Like, why are we not even talking about Kiko? Kiko is showing
Kiko
a lot of
was
strength. Ito,
vice presidential candidate,
oh, bro,
2020.
what if ganito bro, sabi ng Kiko, ito ang presidente, ito ang Malacanang. The next thing you know,
Wow!
ito ang Malacanang,
Wow!
wow, ito ang Malacanang, tapos maging president. For now, and then Sharon will sing a song, and you know, I'm just saying bro, I just don't like this shutting down culture, toxic, and we need to get rid of this low lives. They have to get away of the way. They're holding back the movement. Yun lang sinasabi ko. Wala akong, okay lang sa akin. Sige, Bam, Kiko, Len, kahit nga Rafi, sige na nga, Tore nga, whatever. But my point is, wag naman kayong mean na ganyan kay Risa or dismissiveness. Tapos, check your logic, check your analysis, longitudinal. O, Dex, ano naman, ano, ganyan. Tapos, sinashutdown tayo, cloud chaser yan, ganyan, ganyan. Wala eh. They're actually very DDS yung mga attacks. Almost the same. Medyo mas
We have to
Englishero
point-
lang. Medyo mas Englishero.
Yeah. I think we have to point out, no, even sa Dilawan noon kay Pinoy, merong internal red tagging. This is controversial or might be
No,
controversial, but
Ronald said it. No, Ronald said it. Ang tawag sa kanya, komunista.
yes, di ba,
Ronald talked about it.
there's a hatred or dismissal of Akbayan because Akbayan comes from philosophy or tradition of activism na Liberal Party unfortunately is still actually traditional politics. Madaming magagalit sa akin but ito lang yung real talk dyan. Liberal Party is more willing to accept pork barrel. Liberal Party and those within the core, Dilawan, core campaign are more attuned to the traditional ways that government works. I think the reason why they're dismissing Risa, it's also an ideological level. Hindi lang winnability, hindi lang yung medyo surface level, no? But also ideologically, they think talaga Risa is not the same as them and therefore yung kanilang magiging policies, yung kanilang magiging connections, yung kanilang magiging patron, yung kanilang magiging pera. Let's be honest, let's be real. No offense to Senator Kiko and Bam, but being part of the majority, that is one of the perks. And we should not be blind to that. Hindi tayo dapat blind supporters lang ni Senator Kiko and Senator Bam. If they get the committee chairmanship, they get more budget for MOOE because chairman sila ng isang committee. They get to hire more people. They get to have more budget to operate. And sa GAA, compare mo kay Risa Ontiveros tsaka kay Soto, sinong papakinggan ni Chis Escudero kapag hihingi ka na, lagyan mo naman ng budget yung Quezon City, lagyan mo naman ng budget yung Tarlac, assuming Quezon City is Kiko Baluarte, assuming Tarlac is Aquino Baluarte. That's traditional politics. So and sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. because as we all know, we cannot be purely idealist, but basta
Right.
hindi corrupt, di ba? May pork barrel kasi na hindi naman nakukurakot eh. Yung pork barrel is just transactional politics, utang na loob, di ba? Pwedeng hindi mo naman niya nakawin eh. Pero ang alam natin pork barrel yung nananakaw. So I'm clarifying na merong pork like sa United States that is more transactional rather than explicit corruption. But this is not to say they're bad people. This is just to say, I think ideologically, iba sila. I think si Senator Risa, she has not said this publicly, but I know for a fact, and I think this is true, I don't think she has accepted any pork barrel. Siya ang nag-iisa along with Ping Lacson na walang pork barrel.
Yeah, well, I mean, the French term, kagabi, in my moment of, I was reading about Leon Blum, who was the guy behind Front Populaire, the Popular Front, United Front, basically of socialists, leftists, progressives to avoid fascists, right? So I relate to those kinds of leaders, tragic leaders. And yeah, I think the French term is angélisme, which is like an unrealistically idealistic, right? We're not, right? We want something that works because alam namin may hit list, di ba? Like, let's just be brutally honest about this is not only about appointments, right? It's about as Ron Leons put it, hell will come, right? If certain people find themselves there. But having said that, you know what? I'm also open to knowing about someone we haven't even talked about yet. By the way, Vico is not qualified yet because he'll be underage. But who knows? There could be a Vico type, even better than Vico type, that we don't know about, and we'll discover in the next year or 2 or 3. All I'm saying is,
Parang malabo.
grabe ka, isa ka pa. No, all I'm saying, bro, is baka we're not just remember there's this was that story of 4 blind men touching each side of the elephant thinking that's the entire universe. What if we're like 2 out of 4 blind men versus 1 out of 4 blind men? Like maybe we're still not seeing the big picture, right? And as we speak, di ba, people are already volunteering us to run na lang 2020. Relax lang, we're still enjoying this. But no, we're doing
Teacher Day Darian for Akbayan.
ayan, para sa bayan. By the way, speaking of everything we have said, let me thank very much everyone that has expressed solidarity with us. This is what I'm saying. It's a Big Ten coalition. Liberal Party, Erin Tanyada, thank you so much, attorney, for the solidarity statement. To Centro, Progressive Group, to Tindik Pilipinas, to Chel Jokno, to Ma'am Leila de Lima. So everyone who has expressed support for us, thank you so much. And you can see it's a broad coalition. Just the people have expressed support for us amid this crazy gallery of rogues, clown show, petition versus us. That just tells you it's a big coalition, Big Ten coalition, and coalitional politics always come with tensions. So the challenge here is how to manage the tensions without creating toxicity and creating bitterness. And pasensya na kung minsan kami kasi mga debaters tayo, bro, people don't understand our culture. We're like really talagang pugnacious by training, but we're actually nice people. Very nice people, believe it
Of
or not.
course.
Especially ikaw, you're very nice.
No, as debaters, di ba, skepticism is ingrained.
Healthy skepticism.
Yes, we are born to be skeptical. But of course, hindi naman kami parang lahat skeptical, di ba? Meron kaming mga pinaniniwalaan din. As long as you prove it to us, as long as there's evidence, there's past action, there's track record, then syempre we will believe. It's just that, unfortunately, for many who might not like us, we're more free to speak our mind kasi wala naman tayong beholden, hindi tayo beholden to certain interests. So we just call it as it is. And sorry na lang sa matatamaan, but sometimes...
Hindi naman tayo makuha sa kabineta kahit sino matalo. Like, ambas lupa lang tayo, so nothing to lose.
Mas makukuha ka pa. DFA,
speaking of, may term na Armageddon. Armageddon. So next time na natin pag-usapan si Armageddon. Yun ang speaking of cabinet members going all the way. Maraming salamat for the latest episode ng RNJ. Amazing people, wonderful people.
That sounded like Donald Trump.
Very nice. Beautiful. Thank you for that episode at 12, almost 30 minutes past midnight. I mean, saan ka makahanap? Only debaters na ADHD ang may ganon. Isama natin si Leloy Claudia sa pang ano yan. Having said that, guys, you know me, I'm not into moralistic debate. In fact, one of the reasons I and Leloy, for instance, are very controversial is because we argued corruption alone doesn't explain. In fact, corruption is not even the number one explanation for underdevelopment. We discussed industrial policy, we discussed trade policies. So check out that episode, and thank you, shout out dun sa isang top economist dati ng isang major organization as a professor now for messaging us this morning to send his regards at kanyang appreciation dun sa ating industrial policy discussion. Jesus, all I'm saying here is that this is a safe zone. We're here to have intellectual, evidence-based, and as much as possible, non-partisan discussion, even if there's a discussion about the pink movement. And speaking of Project 2028, follow the Democrats because they're using that term to go against the MAGA. So we'll do the same thing. Why should the MAGA have only the monopoly on using project, right? We'll use it too, Project 2028. So abangan nyo, ila-launch natin ang Project 2028 officially in the coming weeks or months. May pag-usapan tayo. And of course, Jesus Falses, you'll be one of our special guests there. Hindi ko alam kung papasalitan ka kasi baka hindi matapos. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you, Jesus, for joining our conversation. So ito na, official na, R and J, J and R, yo in the house. Maraming salamat and talk to you soon. God bless, bro. Talk to you soon. Adios.